Wonderful. So, welcome back to day three. We're going to start by recapping day one and two very briefly. And then we're going to dive into today's topic, which is what your body needs to release the stress weight. And I'm going to talk through my story. So, it changed everything for me. I want to make sure you have that information as you move forward to build your 90-day action plan. We will have some workshop time. I'm not going to record that necessarily the whole thing. Maybe leave it on for 10 minutes as I explain a couple areas. But that workshop time, I would build out and give yourself, if you're watching the replay especially, give yourself at least 30 minutes. It's kind of a gift to yourself. We are getting, I don't know if you look at like quarters, we are in the middle of quarter three. Moving into, I guess, quarter four for the year. So when I look at planning, I like to look at whole quarters at a time. That's 90 days. So in 90 days, I'll talk about like how you can see progress in that time period, but you need to be able to like project out into the future and see what's coming. So we'll walk through that. I'll walk you through those exact uh, parameters of like how to make those goals. And then I actually want you to give that gift of time to yourself to build those goals for yourself. So diving into today, our topic is what your body needs to release the stress weight. We'll chat through some things first, and then we'll have time for workshop. Okay, so today this is our agenda for it. So we're going to go through that 90-day action plan so you can actually get results and follow through. I'm going to start with a quick recap of what we've already done in days one and two. We'll talk about motivation and discipline because they're two different things. We'll talk about the 5 phases of fat loss because as you are building out your action steps, knowing that it's not a linear path. If you were to grab your phone and I don't know if you ever downloaded like one of those calorie trackers or like food trackers. And a couple of the ones that come to mind, the ones I've used in the past are MyFitnessPal. I've used Lose It. I think First Form has one that I've used before. And they all just pop out a nice little clean number. And they're like, oh, eat 1,400 calories, eat 900 calories or whatever, and you'll get to your goal. And that is the farthest thing from the truth. It is never a linear goal of eat this and this will happen. That's not how it works. So making sure that you know what is realistic so you can actually see realistic goals and also knowing that there are honestly, some barriers standing in your way, being very upfront. I am a very blunt person. I kind of say it like it is. I'm I guess that's like my science background. Like I see the numbers, I'm like, that's what the numbers mean. So I want to show it to you because I don't want to, I don't want to like sugarcoat it. I want to just say it like it is. And then we will take that time to build out your 90-day plan. Okay. So that's kind of our schedule for today. Going over that recap first. I'm not going into every detail. There is a replay available for both of those days if you missed it. Highly encourage starting there rather than starting here. But I see everyone, at least everyone attending live, has been here at least one of the other days. So hopefully you've seen all of these. But if you're watching the replay, I do recommend going back and listening to these 2 days first. Day one, we talked about the 5 pillars of fast and easy weight loss. We spent a lot of time talking about routines, and that was the workshop when we workshopped it, that's what we talked about. So we talked about this idea of a morning domino, an evening downshift, and using those two as anchors in order to really set yourself up for success there. We talked about the importance of exercise and balanced meals as part of those pillars, mindset as kind of the unspoken but really important pillar. And I also talked about the root cause of a lot of people that I work with, not every single person, but I would say almost everyone is stressed and they are not seeing those nice linear results like you would see in your tracker because there's other things going on besides just what calories come in and what calories go out. That would make it a lot cleaner, but that's not life. That's not how it works. So that's what day one was about. Day two was the number one mistake people make when trying to lose weight, particularly women, particularly, I would say, people that have done diet, weight loss, any sort of like doing this for a while. This is probably where you get yourself caught up, is the fact that you're not eating enough you might not be eating enough carbs, you might not be getting enough nutrients, you might not be getting enough protein. And so we talked through this idea of, well, what is enough? Well, how do we know when we've eaten that? And what does a balanced plate look like when we are trying to eat for ultimate nourishment? And so we went through some very specific targets. Those were ranges. Of course, everyone is going to fit usually somewhere within them, but giving you at least a picture of where to start. So that's what we did. Quick recap, but hopefully that jogs your memory. And today is building on that. Okay, I used to try to do this. I think I probably will stick to 3 days in the future, but I used to try and do this all in like one sitting. And I was like, oh, wow, this is too much information. I need to chunk it because everyone's just like glossing over. So that's why we're chunking this, breaking it down into manageable things because otherwise this is a lot of information all at once. So I talk in stories, and since you have, I love that you break this down into 3 days. Good. Me too. So because I talk in stories, and I think you've seen that because I've done it the past few days, as you at least those who have attended live have seen. And so I want to tell you and remind you a little bit about my story. I won't repeat it too much because I've shared it previously. But I was doing what I now know was a lot of things wrong, and they were all like mixed together. And it created, of course, the perfect storm of I felt like I was doing healthy things, and yet I was kind of shooting myself in the foot. So, what I was doing is when I was working, I was always in the front of the shop, which is, I think, good. But I was ended up making smoothies, which is something that I in my back of my mind, I'm like, I should have had someone up front because I wasn't able to address the key tasks. So what this might look like for you, it might not be working in the front of house when you need to I don't know, pay the bills or make plans or do marketing or whatever. It might not be business focused for you, but what this might look like is you are doing things that are distracting for you instead of what is the most important thing. So that's more of the takeaways. Like, here's what I was doing that was really just a distraction, but I should have been doing this instead. And what that turned into is I ended up being I made myself busier than I think I needed to be. And that translated into poor habits over time. I was too busy, so kept skipping meals. I was like, I'm too busy to eat. I'm just not going to stop for lunch. I'm not going to make breakfast. I'm just going to go, go, go. I'm not going to sit down and drink my water like I now do. I'm like, I need to at least chug my water. I need to at least drink some water. And I can't just be on the go all the time. And then I was hangry. It's the end of the day, and I hadn't really eaten much. I was like sipping on smoothies all day, like little bits here and there. And then I would like really go overboard at dinner. I was like, oh, I haven't had anything all day. I'm going to eat whatever I can. Like these calories don't count. So that was there. And then because I was busy, because in my case, I was nonstop working like 80 hours a week. I got myself to a point where even though I was technically with my family in the evening, our business like would close at 4 and I'd be home no problem later than 5. But I was never fully present. I was always like anxious and irritable and quick to snap and all those things. And even though I was there some of the time, and of course not there some of the time, but when I was there, I still was missing out on these good moments with my family. So those are the things that in retrospect, I'm like, I was doing this to myself, but maybe you don't realize what you are doing until you have that like third perspective. Sometimes like seeing it from a different point of view can really make things obvious to you. By the way, if anything I'm saying rings true for you, jot it maybe in the margins of your action plan because these are things that you need to address in your action plan. There is a section for mindset. There's a section for nutrition. There's a section for exercise. And because those are all really key in losing weight, it's not just one thing. It is never just one thing. It's really the whole picture. Okay. So I've also, in the last few days, this is part of like the day 1 and 2 recap. These are the things that I've been sharing, but I wanted to put it all together for you. So, how do we lose the stress weight and honestly keep it off, like not just lose it once and then gain it right back? The first step is to address the root cause. I spent a lot of time on day 1 talking about stress. Stress is a lot of times the root cause because that cortisol imbalances the rest of your hormones. Hormones are going to make you feel like you are in fight or flight. They're going to make you feel like you are always in that survival mode, and you are never going to let your body release the weight. Okay, that's really important to identify stress. Stress is definitely going to derail your progress. The other things that we have chatted about are the lack of like routines, lack of systems. We spent a lot of time talking about that on day one. So putting systems in place that set you up for success. Okay, you're busy, so what? You still need to eat lunch. You still need to eat breakfast. Like these things become a non-negotiable, and you have to figure out how to do it, right? Having a third party, right? Me, or someone in your life that is going to help you with those things is essentially really key because you get to figure it out. You don't have to figure it out in a silo. You can ask for help. The other thing that stress leads to is being undernourished in some way. It might not be a lack of calories. You might be getting plenty of calories, but perhaps they're empty calories or the wrong type of calories. Perhaps you're not getting the right nutrients. So we spent a lot of time on day two, that was yesterday, talking about nutrient deficiencies and in the form of a balanced plate. Like what should you be aiming for? Because if you are nutrient deficient, guess what? Your thyroid is not going to work properly. Your metabolism's not going to work properly. Your brain's not going to fire and be optimally functioning. Your hormones are off. Like all of these things show up when you don't have your nutrients in place. And usually, and I mentioned this in yesterday's topic, it's usually because you're not getting enough of the right foods. And today, day three, is having an action plan. So we'll dive into more of that. Beyond the root cause, it's like awareness is the first step, right? Like Alcoholics Anonymous. Awareness is the first step. Okay, cool. What do you do with that? Then you need to have a plan that moves you forward. And that's what really made a difference for me. I had a plan, it was customized for me, and it taught me how to do things and also the why behind it. It's not just like eat 900 calories. Why do I need to eat 900? I needed to know the explanation in order for it to make sense. So having a plan. And then the third thing that made all the difference for me, and it makes the difference for clients, and it will make the difference for you as well, is to have accountability along the way. Knowing that you're not doing this alone, whether it's just peer community support, whether it's one-on-one support, whether it is someone in your ear telling you, hey, this is what to do and what to focus on right now. You don't need to focus on all the things, just focus on this thing. So these three things together are what you need in order to actually see success. So the root cause, having a plan, having accountability. So with that in mind, let's chat motivation versus discipline because these get confused. I've had two different calls this week with potential clients, and they were saying they both said the same thing. I almost had to like rephrase it for them. And they're like, yes, I really am so motivated to get started, is what they said, like word for word. And they're like, I'm motivated. I'm ready. I'm ready to make change. I can do this. I have the motivation to do it. Like, and what they are seeing, they're like, something usually happens. There's usually like a catalyst, like a tipping point. And they're like, yeah, I tried on a pair of pants that I wore last fall. It's now cool weather again, and I'm wearing pants again, and those pants just didn't fit. Okay, so that is like a catalyst, right? It's like, man, I'm going to go eat really well. And what happens is people will, it will cause a behavioral change. It will cause you to be motivated to follow through for usually a couple weeks. So this is the shiny syndrome, right? Like we see something, we do something really well for a couple of weeks. And then it falls off. They've written like all these books about it. Think about New Year's resolutions. People start January 1st, they get really excited, they go to the gym is packed. They keep going for a couple weeks, but usually by 2 weeks, they are totally off track. They have totally fallen off. They've quit the gym, they've quit the healthy eating, drinking water, all the things. They just can't do it anymore. So 2 weeks is, I would say, like pretty average for people. But they say it's at least 21 days to make a habit. And honestly, more research is like between 66 and like 70 something days, several months to instill this habit. And that's when we move into discipline because 2 months down the road, it is no longer shiny. It is no longer exciting. It is no longer fun, but it's going to continue to work if you continue to work at it. Okay. So having systems in place is what is going to get you to actually see results. Motivation will take you through about 2 weeks. Discipline is what is going to keep you going. So here are some examples of what that looks like. You roll out of bed in those first 2 weeks, you're like, I'm excited. I have new workout clothes. I have new shoes, a new sports bra, whatever. I can't wait to wear them. I look so cute in my matching set. And then you're like, ugh, I really don't feel like waking up at five, whatever, in the morning. My alarm goes off at 5:15 on today's Thursday. So 5:15 on Thursday. So I'm like, I almost slept through it. I'm like, I could sleep through this right now. And I have this battle. It's been, I think, 7 years, 7 years since my daughter was born and she's 7, and 7 years that I've been taking this Tabata class. And I'm like, it's like a combination of strength and some cardio. And it's early in the morning, and I'm like, I just don't want to go. But I've been doing it for 7 years. It's not new at all. And I still think to myself, I really don't want to go. So I have a system in place. I'm like, I know I need to leave my house by 5:36 in order to get there in time. And so my system, it's a very simple one, but I make myself get up, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, fill up my water, put my socks on, put my shoes on, and walk out the door. Like, it is a very simple system. At 5:15 in the morning, I feel really sleepy doing it. And it is just this discipline of thinking, well, how will I feel if I don't do it? How will I show up if I don't work out today? Will I be more exhausted? I don't know, will I rock this workshop today? Getting to talk to you, will I have the energy to show up for you? And kind of thinking that through. And very rarely, unless my kids have been up all night or I'm not feeling well, like there have been very few instances where I haven't shown up. And because it's the discipline, it's not fun, it's not shiny, but it is the discipline. And sometimes having the discipline of someone else being like, "Hey, you got to do this." Sometimes that's helpful too, right? So how do we make discipline more routine? You can take this. There is a notes section for today. So you might want to add a little thing of notes here. So how do you get discipline into your routine? Reminder that progress is better than perfection. And you hear that, and it's such a trite statement, but it's very true. Baby steps are still baby steps, or are still steps forward. You're still making progress, even if you're moving slowly. Okay. And it's better than you were yesterday. 1% better is absolutely still better than you were yesterday. So thinking about that mindset shift. Something you could do is trying to set a floor and a ceiling. So here's a little tip for you. A floor, and I chatted with my client Amanda about this. We had a one-on-one call on Monday, and she's a teacher and she's getting ready to go back to school. And she's like, I don't have 45 minutes to go work out before school. Like, I have to leave at 6 o'clock, or I'm not sure what time. She has to leave early in the morning to go teach. She's like, I don't have time. I'm like, what do you have? Do you have 10 minutes? Do you have 15 minutes? Do you have 20? She's like, honestly, I might have 15. Like, that might be a stretch. I might only have 10. It's like, cool. So her floor, the minimum amount of workout that she is going to do is 10 minutes. If she can wake up a little earlier, if she's feeling really motivated that day, or she doesn't have to, like, maybe less to do in the morning, maybe she can work out longer, but 10 minutes is her floor. If she's feeling energized after school, she's feeling better, she might work out again. So her ceiling is like the full workout, I guess, of 45 minutes. The floor is the minimum. The ceiling is the goal, like the ultimate goal, like the biggest amount you would work out, or the biggest amount of water you're going to drink, or the longest you're going to go for a walk for, or I don't know. It's hard to do probably with nutrition, because you want to have consistency over day to day. But I would say workouts make a really good example of this. So set a floor and set a ceiling. Even if you do the floor, it's a win. That's a win. You showed up. And it's a way to, like, oh, I don't have time. Get rid of that perfection mindset. You have 10 minutes, right? We can make 10 minutes work. Plan ahead is another one. I've done some workshops, and I don't think I've done it on this workshop recently, but what I like to do is, like, I have my planner. It's right here. And I won't show you my planner exactly, but I could tell you this is 2 weeks out, September 1st. This is the week of September 1st. It has like nothing in it except I have a couple birthday parties that weekend. But I can tell you on Monday, I have a workout. It's planned at 8 o'clock. On Tuesday, I have a workout that Tuesday and Thursday, those workouts are 5:45. Okay. So I can tell you when workouts are all the way through the week. I know what my plan is 2 to 3 weeks out. I only know it about workouts. I don't know what appointments I'm going to have come up. I don't know what last minute things are going to happen where my kids are, I don't know, sick or need to be picked up early from school or anything like that. But I can tell you when I'm going to work out because those are the things that I prioritize. Again, with planning, the important thing is to reduce friction. So making things kind of flow together. So, for example, I really don't like to go inside of grocery stores because I always buy like way more than I need, and my kids always find something that they have to have, and it's always a battle over snacks and like all these things. So, how do I reduce friction? I've switched. So, I either pick up my groceries or I have them delivered to my house, right? That's something that was a lot of friction in my life, and I've just noted it and then removed it. So, how can you reduce friction in your life? That's part of your planning process today. And then the last piece is that accountability is better than just like information. There's so much information out there, but that showing up is really, really key. So let's chat through this a little bit more. I actually want to show you some, like, these are kind of sobering numbers and a little bit scary, but I think it's really important to go through and talk about. So, some of these numbers 74% of Americans, roughly, are overweight and or obese. Okay. That's more than it used to be. It used to be 1 in 3. Now it's like more than 2 in 3. It's 74%. That is a lot of people. Okay. So we have a lot of people who are overweight or obese. A lot of people are on GLP-1s. How does that relate? Because they want to lose weight, but they don't want to make the lifestyle changes that result in losing weight beyond having just the easy kind of shortcut. Now, I'll give an asterisk there because there are some people that have diabetes that have medical reasons, and I see the reason. Like my dad, was 250 pounds. He's 80 years old. He's probably not changing much at 80 years old, and he benefits from a GLP-1. But someone in their 40s who has the ability to make massive changes without necessarily medication and doesn't have a medical reason, there are a lot of other things to do first. Okay, so I'll give an asterisk on that one. 12% of Americans have diabetes. 680,000 Americans die every year from heart disease. It's the number one killer of people. And a lot of times that is preventable, right? Heart disease, not always. And there's, of course, many different cases and so on. But we could change a lot of those things that contribute to heart disease. 3 out of 4 adults are stressed out. So we're overweight and we're stressed, right? And only 24% of adults are meeting these guidelines to basically say that they're in shape. So, kind of taking that jargon out, 24% of adults or fewer are in shape. Okay. So here's what they're saying. They're saying, well, I don't have enough time to work out. So when we look at the numbers, the average American adult spends 19 minutes a day on average doing anything athletic. But they're spending at least 2 hours a day on social media, or they're spending time watching TV. I didn't put the TV and all the other stats. I didn't want to overwhelm. But we're watching social media, we're watching TV, but we're not exercising. Like there's a shift in our priorities, right? Like that when we look at the numbers, we're like, yeah, there's time for you to be able to do this. Or you might say eating healthy is too expensive. And I know groceries have gone up, gas, all the things. Everything is more expensive. But what are you spending your money on? So, for example, streaming services. I looked at the numbers. Most people have between 4 and 5, like Netflix and Hulu and I don't know, cable TV and what all the things. So there's all these different streaming services, YouTube, Amazon, all these things. And so we're spending money on streaming services. We're spending, I don't know, a couple $100 on fast food and takeout every month. We're spending hundreds of dollars on entertainment. We're spending lots of money on vacation, but we're not spending time and energy and attention looking at our own health. We're distracting ourselves. Okay. If you're taking anything from these last two slides, we're scrolling social media, we are entertaining ourselves, we are distracting ourselves from doing the things that are the most important things, which is taking care of ourselves so we can be around longer for our families, so we can show up better as whether you're in your career, showing up as a parent, or just honestly liking yourself. We aren't prioritizing that. Our lifespans are getting shorter, our attention spans are getting shorter, we're getting fatter, we're getting more distracted, and it's kind of a problem. Like it is a huge problem. And I think that's like, that should hit home. If you've ever said any of these things, hopefully it's like looking at the numbers, it's like, wow, like there is time, there is the budget to allocate to being healthy. Okay. I wanted to show you this, and hopefully it'll show to you with my picture there. I asked my clients to, and we did this, I have a group chat going, and so that's why it like takes up this whole screen because it's like in a long group chat. Uh, my clients are actually saving money each month when working with me. So yes, they have invested to work with me. They're saving more money than they actually paid to work with me. One client, and this is her text message, she saved $700 in June compared to May. I was like, that's pretty significant. That is significant. So a couple of them like just shot over other numbers. Like I saw like a $350, $300, a couple $100, but they're saving money. And here's where it's coming from. I'm focusing on veggies and protein. I'm not spending money on all these other groceries. I'm not having to buy clothes because I'm not gaining weight and I'm not like uncomfortable in my clothes. So I'm not buying new clothes. I'm saving money at the grocery store because processed foods are so pricey and I'm not eating out half as much as I used to. Okay. So there are different ways to spend your money and to spend your time that are actually serving you, that are actually moving you toward your goals of being healthier. So I just wanted to show you that, like on a quick poll, they're like, yeah, save $700 this month. Okay. So most people with all of those numbers that I just shared, most people are going to stay there. They're content, they're happy, they're distracted, they're not trying to get better. They're happy and content just plodding on in the way that they are. But I'm guessing because you are here today, you're still showing up. That's not you. You want to be better. You want to improve yourself. You want to be the healthiest version of yourself. I'm not saying you have to be a bikini model, bodybuilder on stage doing all of those bikini shows, or even like on the beach in a bikini. That's not necessarily the goal, but being healthier is. Maybe living longer than the average lifespan, being able to enjoy that time with your family without your mind racing or that anxiety spiral or feeling guilt because you shouldn't be eating, like shouldn't be doing all these things. Okay. So you want things to look different, and that is why you are here. Okay. So a quick reminder that you could Google anything, and you probably know this, right? You're like, I need a recipe for tonight. Well, it's raining here. So I don't know if you guys are having Hurricane Aaron is overflowing here where I live. So I was thinking about comfort food. I'm like, what can I throw in the crock pot today? What can I eat that's like warm and makes me feel cozy? And you see, I have my sweater on. Like, I want to be cozy today. So I could type very easily like crock pot recipes, and I get tens of thousands of recipes. It's the age of information. We can find anything online. It's not about finding a recipe, and it's not about finding like what diet should I do? Because honestly, the diet, there's 1,000 diets. Like, how do you know which one's right for you? Everyone has a different need that they want. And then not only do you have to find the program, the plan that works for you, then the other part is sticking to it consistently. And I know that is truly the hard part. So more numbers, a couple numbers, and I'm going to chat briefly about my group coaching program because I do have a program and it can really solve all of your problems, and it is open for enrollment right now. When we break down the numbers, it's $191 a month. If you were to go here, and you go through checkout. So you enter all this information, go to step two. It'll say, pay another way. You could pay with a credit card, pay it all up front. You could pay it another way and say, use Affirm, and it ends up at $191 a month. And that is doable. So my clients are saving $300 to $700 a month on groceries. And this program costs less than $200. You're saving money by making these shifts, by being healthier, by being that best version of yourself and still getting the support you need. You're actually saving money. So that is what I have to offer you today. Here's what's included. It's the stuff that Google can't do. So sure, you could type in like, what are my macros? Like that is totally possible and Google can do that for you. But here's what I have that it doesn't do, which is a plan, which is having all of those systems either built out for you or the support to build them out and customize them exactly for you. And it's the accountability that keeps you showing up, which all of these, when you put it together, it's going to be your quickest path to results. So I showed you in the past couple of days, like some of my clients' results. Like my client Megan, she started Megan with a GH, so not me. She started April 30th. By June 6th, whatever weeks, I think that's about 6 weeks, she lost 20 pounds, right? Like you can do these results the quickest way possible, or you can kind of like meddle around and try it on your own. But this will work. And here's everything that's included. And it's a lot, right? It's by the way on the checkout page, so I won't spend too much time here. But what is included is that customized protocol, lots of check-ins and accountability. There is an online program, that's the mindset piece. So an online like step-by-step program, and then live coaching. Basically like a lot of coaching. So weekly group coaching, weekly office hours, there's a group chat. You can message me with questions. I'm there to support you. So lots of support. And that's the difference. That's the difference between success and trying to figure it out on your own. I wanted to chat about this and I can't like move my picture out of the way. I do want to send this over to you so you can have it. Well, I'll send it over at the end. I can't find the link right now, but I want to give you a copy of this. It's the 5 phases of weight loss. And so this is what I actually do. It is not exactly the same for every single client, but it is a process. And so when you were building out your 90-day action plan, I want you to actually apply this to it. So this whole process, I honestly would say would take about a year to get through all 5 phases. My clients and my program's 16 weeks, it's 4 months. And usually we get through the first three, or at least to the third one, somewhere around month, usually 3 to 8, and that's a wide window. But usually in 3 to 8, we start increasing calories in a reverse diet. We hold there for a while, and then we go into another calorie deficit so we can really define those muscles and sculpt them out. So let me explain this, but this, if we were to do all of this, it's about a year. If we were to get all the skills to be able to do the fundamentals and see major results, that's why it's 4 months, because you can see massive changes in 4 months. And then if you wanted to continue on, you can absolutely continue on, but hopefully you also have the skills to be able to do it yourself. So here are the 5 phases, and I'll explain it and I'll kind of give you the range, but I will like put an asterisk here. Like every single person does have their own path, their own journey, and it takes a different range for each person. With every single client, I start with healing because most people come in having dieted for years, having tried lots and lots of things. They have a lot of inflammation. They have a lot of things going on. And so we start with healing and we address inflammation. Typically, what that includes is removing inflammatory foods. Okay. So that would be usually gluten and dairy. And that's usually also eggs for a lot of people. And so we remove foods that are inflammatory. That also, I guess, would include processed foods. So we focus on whole foods, we focus on healing. We do that for usually about 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. We flood our body with nutrients. We are getting all the right foods. Sometimes that's supplements, but usually it's just whole foods. And we come from a healing phase. Then we move into Ignite. Ignite is where I would say about half of my program, most of the people spend about half the program in Ignite. And this is what I call phase two. Phase two, we are working on fat loss. We are trying to lose weight on the scale. Like the scale should be going down during Ignite. And that's typically 1 to 2 pounds a week. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. We're focusing on clean eating, we're focusing on water, we're focusing on exercise, and also like repetition, building habits. What I see during this time is people start to rapidly feel better. They are getting excited, they're seeing results, they are able to keep moving forward. And then usually things plateau, and it can plateau because they have fell off of the healthy habits, and that happens often. And then it's a conversation of, well, how do we get back on? So my client Cassie, she has asked me this week, will you please check on me every single day? Because I've had a rough week. I have a lot of deadlines and stress coming up at work, and I need that extra support. So I've checked in with Cassie every single day because we're getting her back on track for this Ignite phase. She's not ready for the next phase yet. We are in Ignite. Once you hit a plateau and you are doing everything right, so you are sticking to eating right, I would say at least 80 to 90% of the time. So you're sticking to it and still not seeing continued weight loss. Some people could be in Ignite for 6 months. Most people, I would say, are somewhere between 2 to 4 months. After that phase where it's not working, but you're still in a calorie deficit, then it's time to build. And this is usually by the time they get to the graduation point, most people are in build, not everyone, but most people are in build. And we are reverse dieting. We're actually increasing calories. We're actually working on increased workouts. We are building muscle in order to boost our metabolism. And that's because I don't want your metabolism to bottom out. I want you to work on body composition. So we're building during this time. And that could take like it takes usually about 6 to 8 weeks to get up to a higher calorie, and then we hold it for several months. So we're maintaining this. It's not a quick fix. Like we are doing this very strategically. After that time, then they move into Sculpt. We go back into a calorie deficit, but keep protein high. We're a little more macro tracking at this point, all the way up to here. There's honestly not a lot of macro tracking. I don't have them send me macros. I do look for pictures of their food, but I don't look for macros for just about everyone. But in Sculpt, we do. And then the goal is eventually to be in flow. And this could be for life, like maintaining your results for life. This is where I would say I am right now because I wanted summer to be easy and fun, and I wasn't going to work toward any specific goals. I was trying to work while my kids are home. Like that's enough of my goals. And so I'm just kind of maintaining. And I was super happy with that. So that's what it looks like. This is what it looks like, and it can repeat at any point, but typically going back through these as needed if you wanted to lose more weight. I hope that helps kind of frame it out of like what the program includes. Okay, so I would say my initial chunk, the first 4 months, focus on those three. So, should you want to sign up for the metabolic rehab protocol, that's that group coaching program, here's what would happen. Like, as soon as you enroll, you submit payment, you're going to get a series of emails right away with access to it. You'll get intake forms, which I ask you to complete. And then that's where I take over and customize it. That usually takes a few days. I send that out. And as soon as you get your customized protocol, you begin. So it takes a little bit of time. It's not immediate gratification for anything, but you are able to enroll and get started right away. So let's recap. A lot of information here. We went through day one, which was like the 5 pillars. Like, what do you need in your routine? Day two, the number one mistake when trying to lose weight, which is like not eating the right amounts and getting nourishing food. And day three, what the body needs to release the stress weight. If you haven't figured out what that is yet, it's a plan. It is a plan plus accountability. You kind of need both in order to do this. So I'm guessing you showed up today for a few reasons. You are tired of feeling tired, you're tired of being in this cycle, and you know that something needs to change. You've tried lots of things, but nothing is working, and you want those real answers. And it's time to finally take control of your health. So, if you would like to do this on your own, absolutely, by all means, I'm trying to give you all the tools to go about it, but it probably includes months of guessing. If you'd like to have a little bit of a more targeted approach, I would like to invite you to what I've called the metabolic rehab assessment. Tomorrow's the 22nd, so I do have time slots open as early as tomorrow. I have some time slots Monday and Thursday as well. The group program does close on the 29th. So you have just over a week left to make a decision. But what happens on this call is we will chat about an actual score. So I'm going to score your stress response, score what you have going on. We're going to map out those first steps. Like, here's where you clearly need to focus on first and work toward a personalized plan. I do ask that you bring a food log, some like typical, like what's your sleep look like? What are you typically doing for workout? So a little bit of homework ahead of time, but you might know a lot of that as well. So if this is you, I'm going to go ahead and send a link into the chat real quick. I would encourage you to go ahead and book your call if this makes sense for you. Okay. Whoop. Let's go back. I do think these are always worth your time. At the very least, getting a lot of clarity. For whatever reason, my picture doesn't want to show up. So if you do want to jump right in, you're like, yeah, this is definitely something I'm ready to do. The group coaching program is open. So you could get started like right now. You could get started right away. And so I'm adding that into the chat as well. Okay, so that's in the chat. You can use Affirm. So that is an option. And if you are having trouble, let me know. Okay. So I'll put it in the chat box. Let me know if you cannot find the pay another way, and I can help you through that part. So we're going to transition into workshop time. I'm going to record for another 10 minutes or so to like I'm sure I'll think of like little details and ways to help you plan. So I want to make sure to record those and add those in. But I would allocate probably 30 minutes to really defining your goals and really mapping out what they look like. This is really important. I think it's really, really key to have a goal, not only a number goal, but also how are you actually going to get there? So when you're doing this, knowing that the reason I'm asking you map out the next 90 days, it's the sweet spot for seeing success because it's enough time to see results because health, weight loss, like that takes time. It all like it's not an overnight thing, right? And it's also time to tweak things when they aren't working. Because remember, like there's not a linear like start to finish, right? That's why I had the 5 phases of weight loss. Like there are 5 different phases to cycle through in order to see success. So how do you know when it's time to move? You have to be looking for that information. So that's why you got to do this for at least 90 days, if not a little longer. And when you are making goals, make sure to be very specific, right? SMART goals. So specific, measurable, whatever A is, realistic, and timely. Yeah, I forget A. Anyway, talking and not seeing everything right there. So what I like to recommend is use a number to determine success. Okay, so I want to lose 20 pounds in whatever, 90 days. That's totally doable. In order to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to have to work out this many days a week. I'm going to eat this many calories, or these will be my macros, or I will eat this type of food this many days a week, right? So being very specific with your goals. This is something that I want you to get very specific with. I want you to put a number. I want you to write this in the top. It says like there's a place for you to write your goals. Let's look up 90 days out from September 1st. 90 days. We could just make it easy and call it December 1st. That's probably the easiest one. Let's just say December 1st. By December 1st, I will lose whatever number that comes to mind. But it might not just be the number, because like truly the number on the scale means nothing. So maybe it's like I'm going to have fewer afternoon crashes. Instead of having an afternoon crash 7 days a week, I might only have one a week. Instead of sleeping 5 hours a night, I'm going to sleep an average of 7.5. Okay, what does that look like? In your fitness, how many days a week are you going to exercise? Can you do a single push-up right now? If not, can you work up to doing 10? My goal was 50. 50 is hard. I stopped for a while and I went to do push-ups. That was actually what I did in my workout class this morning, and I was tired. It was 20-second bursts, so I wasn't like doing as many as I could. But after about like 15, I was like, man, I'm tired. I used to be able to do 50. So now I got to work back up to 50. Like that's now a new goal for me. And I would say like, oh, I'm still feeling strong, but like there are ways that I can continually improve. Okay, so moving targets. But if you can, for example, if you can do 10 push-ups now, can you do 20 in, 2 months or in a month? If you're doing 3 workouts a week that are strength-based, can you do 4 next month? If you're taking 2 walks a week, can you do 4 walks in a month? Like, what does that look like? It needs to be able to incrementally go up, not to doing everyday workouts, but something realistic. And then lifestyle, I would say, is important as well. So maybe family dinners are really important to you, or decreasing alcohol is really important to you. Maybe spending more time with your girlfriends because you want to get out and see them. Maybe that's important to you. Maybe you've been thinking about picking up a hobby and you want to make time for your hobby. Maybe that's important to you. So finding something doesn't always have to be, I'm going to lose this much weight. Like it doesn't have to be about that to have an ideal healthy life. It's a balance of all of these things. So include it. Okay. When you do that, say weight is the easiest. So I'm using this one. We got to break it down now into milestones. So it's easy to break it down per month. So let's say in 3 months, I want to lose 30 pounds because I can do really good, easy math with that. So in 3 months, I want to lose 30 pounds. That means every month I need to lose 10 pounds, right? Okay. From that, what do I need to do every week? Here's how I'm going to break down my movement. Month one, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this much. I'm going to eat like this. I'm going to go look up my recipes right now or my macros, or I'm going to look up plates of food that I can make in the right portions. I'm going to work on mindset. Maybe you go meditate every day. I don't know, one day a week. Doesn't matter, but it needs to be tangible. It needs to be written down. And going back to this idea of having a floor and a ceiling, what's the minimum you're going to do every week? What's the goal that you are going to do every week? The ceiling is like the ideal goal. You don't have to be at ideal everything. You don't have to be perfect for it to be a win. Just enough is good enough. Okay, so pick a floor, pick a ceiling. I'm going to pause for a few minutes. I'll leave the chat open, but that way you can start thinking through it. And I'll come back in a few minutes with just a couple pointers, some quick questions that I typically get asked. But if you have questions in between now and then, feel free to pop it in the chat. A quick reminder as you are heading through this, after you go through those like non-negotiables, the things you're going to do every single week, make sure to go to the next page as well. So those are the household tasks. Like, how are you going to keep up with this when you go work out, for example? Like, is there some support you can get? Is there something you could streamline? Is there something you could get rid of? Are there any appointments or errands that are going to get in the way? For example, say you have like gallbladder surgery coming up. Okay. Say you have physical therapy. I don't know, like just things that happen in life. How is that going to potentially reroute what you have going on? And also reminding you that you need time for downtime, not necessarily more massages or pedicures, but just downtime, quiet time, time to read, time to go to sleep early. That's self-care time too. So, what do you need in that? Yeah, what do you need in that? Sometimes we need a quick reset. So, do you have any plans for those? And then, even when it's busy, what's the like baseline? What needs to happen? So, that's what's also included there. Spend just a couple more minutes and then I'll walk through a couple common questions that I get. All right. I'm going to switch back just for a few minutes and we'll leave this open, but then I'll stop the recording. So sometimes I get questions and sometimes people feel nervous asking questions. So I always like to have these there because these are typically, if they don't tell me on the phone, they tell me over a message or they tell me over an email. And these are the things that come up and they're the barriers that get in the way of like, yeah, I'm ready versus no, I'm not. The first one is I'm worried I won't follow through or I won't commit. And this one is probably the real reason that most people don't get started. It's like, I really don't want to spend that money. And then, like, I don't follow through. I'm afraid that I won't commit to myself. And I think that is a very real feeling. And it's also very debilitating. It's very much going to hold you back. Yes, you have to be ready. Yes, you want to make sure that your money is well spent. But if you stay in this like what if stage, forever, then you never ever get to your goals. So there's never a perfect time. There is never going to be a perfect scenario. Life is never going to magically calm down. Now, if you have a big surgery coming up, wait, right? If you have something massive happening that you know is coming, sure, that makes sense. However, if it's just like this like blurry kind of what if. There's always going to be something. And that's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to start. So addressing that one. I'm not sure if this will be the right fit for me. What should I do? Well, you should book the metabolic rehab assessment and talk to me before you hit submit. Talk first. That's free. There is zero reason to not do that. Even if those times don't fit, still email me and be like, hey, can we do this time window? I'm not available at this time window. Like, no problem. I will make it work at all possible. Just ask. So if you're not sure if it's a right fit, talk through your concerns. Ask me, like, well, is this included? Is this included? Yeah. I know what it feels like to have gone through a fitness program or worked with a coach before, and it's not the right fit because I've done that. And I don't want to set you up for failure. I don't want you to do something because you're not sure if it's the right thing. Um, Honestly, I only want to work with people who are ready and who are a good fit. So if you're not sure, like ask. Like let's talk to each other first. That's the first step is to still book that free call, still reach out and see if it's the right fit. I've already done this before. Whether you've spent time trying to lose weight, you've spent money on another program, I don't want to do it again and it not work. And so the biggest thing here is the strategy has to align with what will work for you. Again, that call is really helpful to determine if it's a good fit. And also the mindset of you are going to make changes this time. I'm here to support you no matter what. Like I'm going to show up. I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. You might get annoyed with how much I talk to you, but I'm always going to be asking like, well, what can we do? What can we do better? How can we improve this? How can we keep seeing results? I'm going to be that cheerleader even when you are tired of it. So it's never a lack of accountability. It's never a lack of support. And you can do it with those things in place. Okay. What if I need to discuss it with my partner first? For sure. Like, go show them the website, bring them on the call with you. Like, I will chat with your husband, I will chat with your partner, and we can talk through it. Okay. So, show them, be honest. Like, everyone should be on board with this. And also, knowing that they might not necessarily understand it because if it were my husband, he'd be like, yeah, I'll just fast for 3 days and I will have a six pack again. And that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for most women. Our metabolism shuts down because we need to feel safe. And it does, what works for men doesn't work for women. Anyway, but bring them on the call, address all the concerns. I'm happy to chat with them too. I've always I've already followed a lot of advice. Why is this program any different? Hopefully, I've done a really good job of explaining that, but it's not a cookie cutter program. It's not the internet. It's not ChatGPT telling you what to do. It is a very nuanced and very specific protocol for you. Will I actually see results? Yes. And I've shared this so many times, but yes, I'm going to work with you till you see results. Absolutely. So, kind of wrapping this up, and I'll go ahead and stop the recording. But I have 12 time slots open. It's not a ton. I do want to prioritize my time with you, but I do have to be a little selective. I have to say like I'm cutting it off at this point. So if you do want to book a call, go ahead and book it. I have like 3 more days of availability. If none of those work, I will do my best to fit it in on another day. But this is a chance for you to actually move forward and see success. So I don't want you to miss out on this. So in closing, the group program, it closes completely August 29th. I will enroll people again. I'll open it up back in December, but I'm not opening it again till then. So don't miss out. If you get, say it's September and you're like, I should have done it, I do have one-on-one programs. The price point is a little higher, but if you want one-on-one, that is always open. The group program is only available till August 29th. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. I see a couple questions in the chat, so I'll answer them with you, but I'm very excited to connect with you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.